The narcissist's revenge begins. Their madness explodes when they feel defeated. Greetings, everyone, to yet another installment. Initially, a young narcissist exhibits charm akin to a playful puppy, only to undergo distortions influenced by overindulgent parents or other figures who lavish excessive attention upon them, an insidious form of mistreatment, reducing the child to a mere object. Despite the eloquent facade, the endearing puppy metamorphoses into a fully-fledged adult narcissist. This matured narcissist harbors an inflated sense of self-importance, akin to that of a deity. Their quest revolves around finding a susceptible partner to indoctrinate into their realm of illusions. This cycle persists for decades until suddenly, those decades evaporate. In their twilight years, the narcissist dons a cap that obstructs reality. They become oblivious to their surroundings, engulfed in their fabricated realm. Eventually, they resemble the depiction of God in classical paintings, adorned with a flowing white beard, until they gradually fade from existence. Such is the life of a narcissist encapsulated in under 2 minutes. Transitioning to the realm of handling frustration, the narcissist's narrative takes a divergent path. Any inconvenience feels like a personal affront to them. Public frustration transforms into a spectacle of humiliation for their ego. Their interpretation of frustration is labyrinthine. It transcends mere disagreement. It encompasses the notion of refusal, setting boundaries, or failing to comply precisely with their desires. Exhibiting independence or possessing individual opinions is perceived as a deliberate assault on their being. They construe it as a deliberate affront, an act of torment against them. Peculiar, isn't it? Frustration for a narcissist equates to a blow against their ego, inducing profound discomfort. They recoil from confronting frustration, which in turn fosters stress and anxiety within them. As this tension accumulates, the narcissist's customary defenses and emotional equilibrium wane, rendering them a distorted semblance of themselves, a state often likened to borderline. Put plainly, when a narcissist grapples with stress, anxiety, or frustration, their behaviors may mirror those associated with borderline personality disorder. They may succumb to tantrums, exaggerated emotional displays, and wrestle with detrimental emotions, such as rage and envy. Frustration exacerbates their condition. In extreme instances, they may exhibit traits akin to primary psychopathy. This contrasts with how individuals with borderline personality might manifest traits resembling secondary psychopathy. Both narcissists and borderlines struggle with managing frustration, prompting desperate endeavors to eradicate the source of their distress. In a mentally balanced individual, frustration often leads to assertive behavior, indicating discomfort and aiming to rectify the situation. However, in the case of a narcissist, their response tends to be more outwardly aggressive, escalating to verbal or physical violence, a phenomenon termed as coercive snap. The narcissist endeavors to coerce others into conforming to their expectations and assimilating into the idealized image they harbor in their psyche. Essentially, they seek to erase the independent existence of others, integrating them into their personal mental domain. Any resistance or assertion of individuality is met with potential extremes, including violent reactions. It's imperative to understand that narcissists perceive frustration as originating internally and struggle to grasp its external triggers. They have difficulty acknowledging the autonomy of people and objects outside their own consciousness. To them, external entities merely exist as manifestations of their internal constructs. They interact solely with the conceptualized versions of individuals within their minds. Consequently, when a narcissist experiences distress, they attribute it to internal sources, viewing it as an inherent issue. Thus, their aggressive responses are attempts to alleviate their own discomfort by molding others to fit their idealized perception. Simply disengaging is ineffective, as narcissists are solely engrossed in their internal cognitions. They dehumanize and objectify others, reducing them to mere figments of their imagination. Frustration emanates from the distorted image of others residing within their psyche, acting as concealed adversaries. For a narcissist, separation is inconceivable, as they perpetually carry others within their mental constructs. Unless they mentally discard these constructs, resort to violence, or manipulate others into conforming to their expectations, the cycle of frustration persists. As previously mentioned, under extreme stress, a narcissist may transition into what we term a borderline self-state. In this state, they exhibit impulsivity and destructiveness, culminating in explosive outbursts commonly referred to as borderline rage, distinct from narcissistic rage. Conversely, during morning hours, when a narcissist adopts a cold, calculated demeanor, they resemble the archetype of a psychopath, premeditated, remorseless, and devoid of empathy. Both borderline and psychopathic states are steeped in fantasy, as narcissism serves as a distorted defense mechanism, impairing reality testing and rendering experiences somewhat fantastical, including these alternate self-states. The psychopathic manifestation within a narcissist is genuinely disconcerting, akin to extreme cases exemplified by individuals like Chris Watts, representing a sinister transition following a covert phase, bridging the gap between borderline and psychopathic states. Occasionally, individuals exhibiting certain behaviors may initially appear conventional, only to undergo a sudden transformation. They eschew displays of anger or distress, opting instead for conciliation, compromise, and benevolence. They may even exude affection and epitomize an ideal partner. However, beneath this veneer of normalcy lie subtle indications of moodiness and hostility, manifested through sarcasm and cynicism. They demonstrate determination yet evade confronting challenges directly, masking their true intentions behind an overtly courteous facade, feigning civility and concern. Despite outward appearances, such individuals harbor malevolent intentions, clandestinely plotting to inflict harm, whether physical or reputational. The repercussions of their actions may inflict lasting trauma, insidiously corroding the victim's psyche like a relentless parasite, all while concealing their true motives, thus complicating interpretation and exacerbating the victim's vulnerability. Now let's talk about another state called the borderline state. There are two versions of this state. One is sudden and explosive, where there's no warning before things get out of control. Narcissists are known for this, displaying intense anger or tantrums. The other version involves a gradual build-up. In this case, the narcissist tries to provoke a fight, aiming to blame you for starting it all. This is a more sneaky strategy, common among covert narcissists. In some situations, when someone with a big ego feels hurt or wronged, they might start planning to get back at those they believe have harmed them. These individuals can be really good at pretending everything is fine to catch you off guard. It's a bit like the conflicts between different groups like Hamas and Israel. As part of their defense mechanism, these individuals blame others for what they do and find reasons to justify being aggressive or even violent. They see it as a way to survive in their own minds. Winning becomes super important to them, and if they fail, it can lead to really intense feelings of sadness, using substances excessively, and disconnecting from reality. These kinds of people often resort to being mean and using psychological tricks on those close to them. Being close can actually make them more aggressive because they see it as a threat. Some may even go from just being mean with words to physically hurting others, treating them more like objects than people. The really paranoid and revenge-seeking ones can be especially dangerous, going so far as to stalk and harass those they feel frustrated or angry with. When it comes to seeking revenge, there's an ancient human urge to get back at those who have done wrong. Some argue that there's nothing wrong with it. It can even be a way to prevent bad behavior. But people usually go about it in one of three ways, and the ones with big egos often get it wrong. Let me explain. The first way, which I think is a good way to look at it, is about setting things right in a fair way. It's not just about punishing the person who did wrong. It's also about helping the victim feel like the world is a safe and predictable place again. This kind of revenge is more about the victim than the person who did wrong. The goal is to make sure the wrongdoer faces consequences, the victim gets some relief, and society acknowledges what happened. This is a healthy kind of revenge. But like anything in psychology, there's a not-so-healthy version. In some cases, it becomes an obsession, like a compulsion that takes over someone's thoughts. If society doesn't step in, this revenge fantasy can turn into a personal crusade, making the victim act out and harm themselves or others. This kind of revenge is not healthy and can really mess up someone's mental health in the long run, taking a toll on their time and energy, especially mentally. It can mess up their other relationships, make them dysfunctional, and in the end, drive them to insanity. In the realm of retribution lies a nuanced form known as narcissistic vengeance. For individuals with narcissistic tendencies, seeking retribution isn't merely about rectifying a wrong. It's a means of inflating their own self-worth and recuperating from perceived slights. This inclination becomes particularly pronounced when they experience humiliation, termed the external solution. Picture yourself in a scenario where you've been slighted, whether by an injustice, mistreatment, or a simple disagreement. In the eyes of a narcissist, someone averse to boundaries and autonomy, they assume the role of the victim, inwardly grappling with feelings of inadequacy, naivety, stupidity, unworthiness, ignorance, and helplessness. They project blame onto themselves. To silence these inner doubts, they strive to assert dominance, akin to a deity, proclaiming, "You're mistaken. I am akin to a deity. I'll demonstrate by retributively addressing those who have wronged me." This genesis traces back to an experience of degradation. The dichotomy of victimhood clashes with their self-image of omnipotence, brilliance, flawlessness, and invincibility. By inflicting suffering upon the perceived wrongdoer, the narcissist regains a sense of significance, reinstating their inflated self-concept. Essentially, when a narcissist exacts punishment upon those they deem transgressors, those who resist their will, defy their authority, or embarrass them, they reclaim their distorted perception of omnipotence, once again assuming a godlike stature. Should thoughts of revenge occupy your mind or manifest into actions, it warrants introspection. Is it primarily driven by wounded pride, inflated self-importance, or narcissism? If so, endeavor to distinguish legitimate grievances from the sway of unhealthy narcissistic impulses. Direct your attention towards the former and eschew the latter. When anger festers, when equity is sought, or when rightful retribution is warranted, gauge the magnitude of your vengeful inclinations. Are you veering towards narcissism or psychopathy? Is it about rectifying wrongs and safeguarding others? Or is it merely about gratifying narcissistic and sadistic urges? Alarmingly often, it skews towards the latter. Lastly, within this framework of retribution, the victim yearns for restoration and assertion of their rights. In essence, they strive for restitution, to revert to the status quo ante by confronting the wrongdoer decisively and assertively. I merely seek a return to normalcy, a restoration of the status quo. It's a coping mechanism for the anguish wrought by deliberate malevolence. Acts such as restitution or reparation serve as practical and equitable means of recourse. It's a form of recompense that serves the interests of all parties involved. Responses to harm typically diverge into two paths, one marked by punitive righteousness, the other by a pursuit of fairness and practicality. Healthy individuals often gravitate towards the latter, while the self-absorbed, self-aggrandizing individuals tend to veer towards the former. That, in essence, distinguishes the two. I trust my tone hasn't veered into aggression. However, should it have, your reaction is at your discretion, be it punitive, righteous, or equitable. The choice is yours. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video of the Narcissist Exposed channel. I need to tell you that what's important to a narcissist is not you, me, or anyone else. My answer to the question of whether or not a narcissist cares about you is yes, but only because you are theirs and they need you to run their business. Like an arm or a leg, the narcissist sees other people as extensions of themselves. Narcissists don't date because they love and care about you, not because they want to be with you. They do see you as an important part of their plan, but to a narcissist, anyone else can be used instead of you. Your job is what counts, not you or the relationship. The important thing is what you can do for the narcissist and how your deeds will make them feel good. You don't have any value if you can't do anything for anyone. Like having no value. Not at all. I think you need to know that to understand why they do, or say what they do, especially if they use measures and words that are meant to trick you into believing them. Even if something seems so appealing at times, you should be wary of things that are meant to trick you into believing them. In the first place, it's important to know that narcissists have mixed feelings about relationships and people, because they hate us but also need us. Please stay tuned, because this movie goes into a lot of detail about this subject. The three most important things for a narcissist are listed below. They think they can't have anything else unless at least two of these three things are in place. Narcissists are often self-centered and shallow, which means that the things they want are also shallow. On the other hand, their actions and behaviors perfectly show the egotistical fears and emptiness that they carry. The most valuable thing to a narcissist is their own image. It's the most important thing in the world to them. How they look, what they wear, and how they act in general. When it comes to narcissists, looks are the first and most important thing. When it comes to sociopaths, this is very different because sociopaths don't care what other people think of how they look. They might just roll out of bed and go to the corner store looking bad. This is because sociopaths don't care what other people think about how they look. They only try when it's convenient for them to do so. Narcissists, on the other hand, were focused on how they looked and how many things they had, especially when they were at the peak of their productive years. Covert narcissists are very smart about how other people see them. What they let people see can be very different from who they really are. They thought it was a show when they left the building. The image they're going for has to be shown through in everything. Narcissists put in a lot of time, money, and effort to look good and change how other people feel about them for the better. They only care about improving their image and standing. Their closest friends and family, like their wives and children, are the only ones who can see through the mask. Because of this, one of the narcissist's biggest fears is that other people will find out they are fake or scam. Because they wouldn't have anything else if they lost this fake image, they're afraid that people will think they're evil if they can't keep up the false image of either the hero or the victim. Because narcissists are always looking for approval from other people, they will die if this keeps up. They need other people to admire them in order to boost their inflated egos and fake feelings of self-worth. Now for the second thing. narcissistic supply, which is something they usually get because of the fake image they've made for themselves. They are only content with praise, attention, and flattery. People should let them know that they are loved and respected by everyone. They can't stay alive without the dark narcissistic food that comes from hurting and abandoning the people they say they love. This is an important requirement that needs to be met. Because of this, they have to trick people into dating or being close friends with them. The narcissist cares so much about this issue that they will do amazing things to get their narcissistic feed. Narcissists can't really care about another person because they see them as nothing more than a means to an end. They will be happy as long as they can get their selfish fix from us. They have a sense of being in charge and powerful. Narcissists have always wanted to be in charge. They will not enjoy living if they do not have someone they can control and prove their presence with. This is another reason why they need more sources of supply. They can't have just one person to love. Not having just one person to control and abuse is never enough. Narcissists are like animals that are always looking for something to eat. They never seem to be happy. They need another source of resources for when the things they have now run out. If they get bored with you, stop seeing what you bring to the table, and push you to the side, they'll still keep you while they look for someone else. You have to stay with them until they're ready to use you again, because in their eyes, you're their property. Because of this, we can say that narcissists need a steady supply of narcissistic supply. A third thing that is important to narcissists is getting rich and powerful. The money they have lets them improve their fake image and buy more things that make them happy and take their minds off of how bad their lives are. They don't want to believe that money can't buy happiness. They work hard to be successful so they can get more, even if they have to use other people to do it. They also realize that they could control more people if they had more money. Because of how much money they had, they could keep some people in their lives. People who are narcissists can never have enough of anything, including money. They can't be happy with what they already have. When you're rich, you have more power, and narcissists enjoy controlling other people's lives and making them afraid. Narcissists always think they can do anything they want if they have enough money and power. Because they feel better than everyone else, they sit in the front row, which adds to their sense that they're above the law. The narcissist's main goal in life is to get as much money and power as possible so that they can control their surroundings as much as possible. Narcissists try to hide the fact that they are weak and insecure, and they depend on other people a lot to make them feel better or take their minds off of the chaos inside themselves. As long as the narcissist can keep getting their egotistical satisfaction, they will keep living. They can also use their money and power to increase their level of control, protect their image, and find new ways to satisfy their narcissistic needs. You already know that narcissists care about certain things but not other people. They'll do anything to get or grow the things that are most important to them. Please know that I really hope this video helps you. I'd like you to know how grateful I am for your time and thought. As always, feel free to leave a note below if you have something to say about this. Thanks a lot. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into the intriguing phenomenon known as the flying monkeys. But before we plunge into that captivating topic, don't forget to ring that bell icon and subscribe to our channel for a steady stream of fascinating content on narcissism. Get ready to immerse yourself in a wealth of captivating videos brimming with valuable insights. Now let's refocus on our main agenda, navigating the realm of flying monkeys and how to navigate their antics. In this video, we'll explore effective strategies for dealing with situations where a narcissist manipulates others against you. You've likely encountered the term flying monkeys in the context of dealing with self-centered individuals. These are the individuals whom the narcissist strategically targets within your social circle, be it your parents, friends, siblings, or co-workers, spreading negative stories to undermine your support system and recruit allies for themselves. Encounters with flying monkeys often peak during divorces, where shared extended family networks can significantly influence the dynamics. The narcissistic partner seizes this opportunity to approach mutual acquaintances, tarnishing your reputation and vying for control over the narrative. Their ultimate goal is to sway these individuals to their side, thereby weakening your support network and bolstering their perceived superiority. Being ensnared in a narcissistic relationship already breeds self-doubt due to the constant gaslighting from the narcissist. When those closest to you also align with the narcissist, it exacerbates feelings of self-doubt and isolation. Ever pondered how they orchestrate their manipulative maneuvers? Narcissists possess an enchanting charm and magnetic personality. They emit an aura of benevolence and wield a profound grasp of social dynamics, effortlessly weaving intricate networks. Through their artful manipulation, they persuade others to embrace the web of deceit they weave. Leveraging their charm, they craft a blend of logical persuasion and emotional appeal, enticing people to rally behind them willingly. They spare no effort in tarnishing the reputations of your nearest and dearest, employing calculated condescension and artful rhetoric. But beware, these are just a glimpse of the myriad tactics they employ to bolster their facade. They deftly exploit your weaknesses, fabricating elaborate narratives teeming with outright falsehoods, all to satisfy their selfish desires. Their aim is unequivocal, absolute control. This can only be achieved if everyone around them falls into their meticulously laid plans. In a way, their machinations resemble the intricate games children play on a playground. However, the stakes are significantly higher, and their strategies far more effective, as they strive to dominate every facet of their surroundings. For the narcissist, triumph is paramount. Their primary impetus is the acquisition of power and dominion over others, a means to elevate their own sense of self-worth. But how does one navigate a situation where they find themselves ensnared in the manipulative clutches of a narcissist? Enter the infamous flying monkey scenario. Above all, grant yourself ample time to navigate and process the myriad emotions entwined with this predicament. It's entirely natural to grapple with feelings of sorrow and betrayal when a narcissist sows seeds of doubt and deceit among those once close to your heart, fashioning a web of falsehoods to tarnish your reputation. You might find yourself faced with unanswered calls and plans fizzling into oblivion, leaving you adrift in a sea of solitude. Consider the plight of an empathetic soul entangled with a self-absorbed sibling. Despite the brother's relentless efforts to besmirch his character and disseminate venomous rumors within their social circle, physical distance limited frequent communication. Nonetheless, this insidious brand of psychological warfare inflicted a profound wound upon his compassionate spirit. To navigate the turbulent waters of emotional aftermath, prioritize your own well-being and seek solace in the embrace of trustworthy confidants, be they friends, family, or a compassionate therapist. Furthermore, stand firm in the face of baseless accusations, armed with irrefutable evidence, and maintain open lines of communication with those ensnared in the narcissist's manipulative web. At a family gathering, our empathic protagonist found himself bewildered by the frosty reception and distant demeanor of his kin. Puzzled and perplexed, he ruminated over past interactions, scouring his memory for any unintentional transgressions that might have provoked such a cold shoulder. At times, he even entertained the outlandish notion that news of his own demise had somehow eluded him, or that some inexplicable calamity had befallen his name. Yet, The puzzle remained frustratingly unsolved, its pieces scattered beyond his grasp. Months later, a revelation rippled through his social circle, laying bare his brother's sinister intentions to disseminate falsehoods and deceit. The disclosure struck him like a thunderbolt, exposing the intricate web of manipulation woven by the narcissist with alarming precision. Witnessing the seamless orchestration of manipulation by the ego-driven sibling left him grappling with a profound sense of despair. Despite the intricate nuances of familial relationships, the gentle-hearted brother found himself shattered and adrift, unsure of how to navigate the treacherous waters ahead. The individuals who once stood as pillars of support had now turned their backs, leaving him to confront the harsh reality of betrayal. Many of you may find yourselves ensnared in similar webs of deceit, trapped in circumstances where the venomous machinations of narcissism wreak havoc in the workplace, neighborhood, or even within the sanctity of your own family. Narcissists, devoid of empathy, remain oblivious to the wreckage they leave in their wake. Their malicious tactics inflict profound harm upon their unsuspecting victims. When I inquired whether the estranged individuals held significance in his life, the answer was a resounding affirmation. I suggested reaching out to them with sincerity, engaging in heartfelt dialogues devoid of defensiveness or accusations. Instead of labeling his brother as a narcissist or offering explanations, I encouraged him to approach these conversations with empathy and vulnerability, seeking understanding and reconciliation. Instead, I recommended that he simply continue being his authentic self in their presence, knowing that his loved ones already held a positive opinion of him. The narcissist's manipulation had momentarily clouded their judgment. He wisely heeded my advice and initiated conversations. It was remarkable to witness how their perceptions of him gradually shifted once they experienced his genuine kindness and individuality. They were understandably puzzled, considering the unsettling dynamics within the family. He acknowledged that regrettable discussions had occurred within their family circle and expressed remorse if they had been subjected to hurtful remarks. This approach facilitated his reconnection with the majority of those who had distanced themselves, rebuilding trust and reinstating their confidence in him. I deeply sympathize with the anguish you endured, particularly the distressing ordeal of watching friends and family gradually aligning with the fabrications concocted by your narcissistic brother. Some swiftly moved beyond the fabricated incidents, while others, steadfast in their belief in the false narratives, proved to be even more detrimental to you. In our discussions about your situation, I encouraged you to reflect on the value of maintaining relationships with individuals who could so easily abandon you. I understand the challenge you faced, given the long-standing bonds at stake. However, if they were swayed so readily by one person's words, it raises doubts about the strength of the initial connection. Moreover, why did they not directly engage with you to address their concerns when the individual tarnishing your reputation was a family member, spouse, or close friend? This situation highlights the importance of open communication, honesty, and genuine dialogue. When faced with false accusations and rumors, it's crucial for those around you to question the narrative and have the courage to engage directly with you, rather than blindly accepting